Hello, everyone. Today we are covering the key investment themes that occur in November. November historically has been a good month for markets, and this is one of the best Novembers since the turn of the century, with global markets up around 9% in local terms this month. Bailey, what has driven this positive month for markets?
So it may not be a surprise, but the main reason for this is the news on inflation. Inflation is down in most major regions around the world. So in the US, inflation has fallen to 3.2%, while in the UK, we've seen inflation move down to 4.7%. And of course, this is promising to see, but it's worth remembering that this is still a bit of a distance from that 2% inflation target. We've had some Fed governors say that the US monetary policy is well positioned to bring inflation down. So, with all of this together, the debate seems to now be when rates may actually be cut, with markets pricing in a 70% chance of a Fed cut by May 2024.
Some interesting developments in inflation and potential interest rate cuts there. So, how exactly have these affected markets to give the positive month in November?
It may seem like a bit of a while ago now, but if we cast ourselves back to October, markets were pricing in the potential of more hikes. But as mentioned earlier, we're now actually seeing markets start to price in cuts. And that's what's led to major equity regions having positive months. If we take the S&P 500, for example, November was its best performing month so far in 2023. And it was a similar story for fixed income, with all major fixed income markets rising as lower inflation and the anticipation of rates having already peaked led to yields falling. So, for example, the 2 year US Treasury yield is down to a 4 month low.
Great. So, let's switch gears to artificial intelligence. I know a big driver of investment markets this year. Believe it or not, it's been exactly 1 year since ChatGPT's release date. In November, we saw multiple companies related to AI report earnings. What have been the most interesting takeaways?
When we speak about AI, it always makes me think of NVIDIA straight away. And NVIDIA's Q3 earnings were revealed in November. A couple of weeks back, Sunil spoke about NVIDIA and how it's now assessed by the market in terms of its AI prospects. And they had another positive earnings with results surpassing analyst projections. Their Q3 earnings were actually 3 times that of Q3 last year. But saying that, there was a word of caution that come from the company over their export restrictions affecting sales to organizations in countries like China. And while we're on the video, it's also worth mentioning that at Amazon's Web Services conference, that Amazon announced that they're partnering with NVIDIA to launch what they describe as the first cloud AI supercomputer. So we're seeing two of the so-called Magnificent Seven team up.
It'll be interesting to see how this partnership looks going forward, or if we will see any other potential AI related partnerships. So that brings us to a close. We've mentioned inflation, we've mentioned yields, and we've mentioned AI. There's only one thing this market update is missing, and that's the stat of the month. And it's actually going to be on Nvidia because their share price is up over a staggering 230% year to date, solidified itself as one of the top 5 companies in the US by market cap. Thank you, Bailey, and thanks everyone for listening. We'll be back next week with a topic of interest.